Now, it's not really a challenge per se for some of you, but for others, it might be quite a shift in your focus and attention. So I called this series Building Confidence, but this is obviously about alignment. And when we're talking about alignment, we're talking about alignment within. Now, most of you who have followed this channel know that the inner world is what creates the outer world. But most people are totally focused on the outer world and not seeing how the outer world is reflecting the inner world. So they just go into, I'm not making enough money. I want this promotion, all these things. I want a relationship. I want to make more money, whatever it is. So what I am going to be offering in the next 30 days is really a shift in total perspective of how you are creating your reality. But first and foremost, we all know that social media can be a massive distraction. And then there's multiple platforms, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. Some people are on TikTok, LinkedIn, whatever. People are all over the place with what they are focused on. And what I'm offering to you all is to you start to direct your focus and attention. And the shift is going to be simple. It's about starting each day and doing something to be in service, in kindness to others. Doesn't matter what it is. The only thing that matters is, one, your intention, two, you're doing it from your heart. So that doesn't mean I think I'm going to do this. No. Whatever you are doing, that you're doing it from your heart. So every time I come on here and I do these lives, I answer from my heart. I check in with my head. I do a check in my experiences and I pull it all together in one. And that is how you are in service. Now, when I have been consulting and I am doing goal setting with clients and so forth, the ones who focus on community as an aspect of their goals always, almost unanimously, reach their goals quicker, they are happier, and they are more fulfilled. The clients of mine who focus solely on, their relationships, they focus on money, they focused on getting a promotion, when they focus solely on those things, they become somewhat stagnant. So when you are focusing on being in service to your community, and your community could be your neighborhood, could be your environment, it could be however you want to be in service at the grocery store, whether it's helping somebody cross the street, whether it's giving a compliment to another from your heart. The whole point of the next 30 days to build your confidence is about being in connection to your heart and being in service to others from that connection. Now, this is the kicker here. Now, doing it in isolation, meaning doing it on your own, in your own mind, kind of limits your expansion. The benefit of doing it every day on this YouTube and leaving comments after if you missed the live or writing comments here, the benefit of actually stating what you have done to be in service to others shifts the potentials from just being a perspective of you, sole individual, into supporting others by giving, here's what I did. This is my idea. This is how I was in service. I chose to say hello to everybody I walked by. Let's just say that was an example. That would be something that somebody else could see and say, oh, I could do that. Because the thing about being in service to humanity is that a lot of people think it's complex. It takes too much time. I don't have enough money. We have excuses for not being focused on service. And that lack of focus in being in service to others is actually dwindling the inner spirit, because the universal laws of one is about we are all in this together, right? And so this is an opportunity for you to have your own personal experience of how your life can and will change by being consciously and consistently in service to others from your heart. And that's how you grow in confidence. That's how you grow in inner stability. That's how you grow emotionally. That's how you grow spiritually, because it's not always just about us. It's about us in communion with others. That is unity consciousness. And that is how you can expand rather quickly financially, spiritually, and also grow. And how do you want to grow in confidence if you don't have awareness? So you got to increase awareness. So this is a 30-day experience that I am offering to you all to join me, to commit to yourself to being, first of all, the best version of yourself that you can be in connection to your heart. And I will say I was inspired to do this series from those of you who have come on here and given comments in the past. And one of the themes that I saw from the Being in Sync 366 video series was how many people felt hopeless and helpless and alone. And we're really not alone in this. We are here to grow in humanity, in our personal humanity, in our spirit, in communion with our spirit. So today is the first day. I'm coming on here live. I'll be here for all of October, every day, hopefully making some new friends. And I will offer to you all to, what is one thing that you have already done today or are planning to do to be in service to others? What's one thing? So the other interesting thing here is, being in service to humanity is really not that popular. A lot of people don't think it's worth it. They think the world is going crazy, and therefore, why even try? And I think that is how people become cynical. That's how they become depressed. That's how they become frustrated, angry. And I think we've got enough of that in our world. And, I see it could be quite lonely to be somebody who wants to make a change. And the change always occurs within, right? That never happens on the outer side of the world, on the outside of the world. It always starts with our inner connection with our spirit, our heart, our willingness to support others in change. So I will just share some fun things that I have seen happen with people, my clients, who have given community service. Now, I have found that people who join boards really struggle with community service, whether it's a board at a church, or it's an HOA board, or it's some kind of community service with a nonprofit. They usually feel quite depleted, and it can be very dysfunctional because there are a lot of politics, excuse me. There are so many politics that go on in those organizations. But people who are just willing to make another person feel supported, feel kindness, and just less alone are people who tend to really see a shift within their inner world. And this is a different kind of giving. This isn't giving to make people like you. This isn't a giving to get something out of it. It's a giving from the heart, which is completely selfless and completely unattached to any outcomes, right? So what you think you might get. What I can tell you is that everybody who chooses to do this experience of building inner strength and greater confidence by being in kindness to others will grow in ways that you can't even imagine. So I don't know how the algorithms are going to push out these lives, but we shall see. Sometimes I have hundreds of people that show on, and then today I have a handful. So good to see you. Thank you for joining me, whether you're here for the first time or you're returning. The invitation is to start every day by consistently and consciously doing acts of kindness to support others. Now, if you are somebody who is already a giver, let's just say you're a therapist, or let's just say you do personal training, or let's just say you work in a hospital. Those are a lot of the types of clients that I have. They're already in the service industry. This is about doing service differently, right? It's about doing service in everyday actions. So it could be something as simple as sending out a note to help make somebody else smile. And again, the intention is from your heart to the other person's heart. That is the key. It's not about just sending an email or just sending a text or a fun reel. No, no, no. It's about intentionally wanting to be in support and kindness of others. And if you're really wanting to make huge changes, my suggestion is to do it for strangers, perfect strangers that you don't know, that don't know you. And that could be going into a grocery store, you change the way you're doing things. It could be that you are consciously looking in your life of how you're going to bring kindness to another without expectation. None. Zero. One of the things that I did is I went and I bought chalk for my front yard, and I started writing intentions for people to be mindful of on the sidewalk. So what I noticed is people that walk outside the house, you know, they might read it, they may not. Some people do, some people don't. But the intention is to be intentional, to help other people to be more mindful. So let's just say you bought a box of chalk and you went and wrote notes around the neighborhood. Wouldn't that be fun? And it just makes people smile. And the one thing that I have seen grown adults do is those, those hopscotch. That always makes people remember being a child. It doesn't cost much. You're just putting it on the sidewalk, and everybody usually smiles. And if there's a message at the end, like you're amazing, those types of things go a long way. Now, if you're somebody who works in a traditional corporate environment, you have a ripe environment for helping to make kindness matter. One, most people that work in a corporate environment are deficient. Not most, I don't want to say most. I want to say a lot of people. I used to call them zombies. They're zombies, or they're asleep. They're really not paying attention to life, okay? They are putting in their time like they're in prison. And unfortunately, a lot of you might work in environments like that. And those can be quite toxic. So how do you bring kindness into, oh my gosh, Sorry, I have a dry throat, so let me just take a moment here. So, when you are in a toxic environment and you want to be confident, right? And maybe you want to just project confidence, but you really have a lot of self-doubt, which is very common in the corporate world because people have somewhat left their spirit at their car, meaning they think they can separate themselves from their spirit, and they become devoid of compassion, devoid of humility, devoid of kindness. And they think being kind is sending an email. So I want to be very clear that I think I've already said it, but I want to say it again. To make sure that you're setting an intention, and when you're doing your act of kindness or service in humanity, that you are doing it from the heart space. That is where you will have the greatest impact in your own personal shifts and with those of others. So let me see. If you work in a toxic environment, one of the things that you can do is look at what is the most deficient aspect of kindness in the workplace. It's not bringing in food, because most of the times when people bring in food or have parties or whatever, they're bringing in junk food. So be mindful of what is needed. And if you're in a toxic environment, what's going to be needed is intention. It's going to need humility, and it's going to need nourishment, because those things are usually lacking in toxic environments. So when you're thinking about bringing in kindness, think of those three things. Now, somebody here is asking me if I believe in astrology. I believe in a lot of things, but what specifically do you mean, do I believe in astrology? Because I have my cup here that says I'm a Sagittarius. So do I believe in astrology? I mean, I believe in the cosmos. Does that help you? I wouldn't say I'm a proficient astrologer at all, in any way. Oh, you mean Vedic astrology. Do I believe in it? I've had readings in the past, but do I believe it? I don't know. I think the data is always open to interpretation. So do I believe in stars and alignment? And yes, yes, I do. Do I believe that the consultants are interpreting the data accurately? Often, no. Does that help you? And do you believe, let me ask you a question, do you believe that being in service to humanity requires astrology? I think we're all like part of the stars. We all are star seeds, star beings. Well, the humans are, right? So, I don't think that you need to be an astrologist or an astrology person to be kind to others. I do think that as with anything, when you have data, the data is always open to interpretation. The quality of that interpretation is always going to be dependent on the interpreter. And so therefore, you want to find somebody and work with somebody who is in integrity, I think, and also who's open. I have found that most of the people who do those types of things are very, very prescriptive. And when people are prescriptive, that means that they're closed. And when people are closed, that means they're less open. And, but, it's important to find good quality people. So, building confidence starts with small, consistent, conscious actions that are in service to helping others, being in service to others with no attachment to outcome and no attachments to how they are going to perceive what you are doing. It's just you being in service to your heart. Let me just see what you're saying. I think believing in serving humanity or servitude in general is a way to free yourself from the ego and uplift your soul. Well, what a beautiful contribution that you are making here in the comments. And I agree with you. I think so many people don't understand how to disentangle from the ego mind. So you're spot on, I believe, with that. So how do you disentangle from the ego mind? Well, once you start focusing on the ego, it's really hard to disentangle it because you're now witnessing it, which being an observer is very powerful. However, what if you focused on being in service that will put the ego in the back seat? Hey, Mick, good to see you. We are talking about building confidence, Mick, this is going to be a 30-day challenge, from being in service to humanity. Every single day, taking consistent, conscious actions to be in service to humanity, to others, to our environment, to our families, every single day for the next 30 days. And then we're going to see how we transform our lives. And if you're watching this, to put in the comments what you have done to be in service. What is the one thing that you have done? Did you say a prayer for humanity? Did you help somebody out of a tight spot? Did you send a beautiful message of encouragement to somebody else? It could be so simple. Did you smile at everybody you greeted? Did you say a prayer to the plants, the Mother Earth, the ocean, the water? Little things. Being in gratitude is a prayer. 100%. All right, mix in. Okay, Mick, so this is the thing. I don't know if you're on my newsletter, if you're on my email list or not, Mick, but you can sign up at the website. But when you are putting your comments in here of what you are doing every single day, it's going to help expand those potentials. One, it's going to shift your focus. Two, it's going to make it public, which creates more of an accountability to really make a difference. And the key, again, is to do it from your heart. No expectations, just being kind to another human. And I find that a lot of people get suspect. When I say I do free consultations, a lot of people are suspect of even a free consultation. Is anything free? There's always an exchange, but not everybody is willing to take a risk. So when we are being in service, we are simply stating and going into a co-creation with our spirit. And when we do that, we become stronger. We become stronger within, which is going to make us more confident. It's going to make us stronger with an inner strength. And we need a lot of inner strength right now. The world is changing. Lots of things are going to be happening. People are dying left and right. People are getting sick left and right. Lots of negativity is occurring. Random acts of violence. And so when we shift our attention away from those things and into being in service, it strengthens our inner spirit. It strengthens our heart. And we need to be stronger internally. because it is challenging as a human to see devastation, to see grieving on a mass scale, which is what we're being called to witness. And so when you are witnessing it, there's no attachment, right? We see it, we observe it, we acknowledge it, but then we have an opportunity to have conscious choice, conscious action. And that's what this series is offering to you, is to consciously, consistently go into feeding that element within your inner spirit that can expand. And that is how we change collective consciousness. We don't change it by cursing what we're seeing, by watching more crazy reels, but we don't change anything by that. We only change when we are consciously doing something that is going in the direction that creates unity and unification within yourself and with others. Yeah, so that's what I'm doing now. That's what we're doing this next month. I missed the daily videos. I miss seeing you. I miss you, Mick and Eric, and all the people that had joined me on that last series. And I just really wanted to do something different and meaningful, and I just waited until it was the right time. Okay, Mick is asking, can you explain the process at the end to sign up? We just have to leave a little. Okay. So essentially, this is it. You don't have to sign up for my email. You can if you want. And that's at Kiannaa.com, KIANNAA, okay, .com. Now I'm going to be on here every day. And the goal is every day you're having an intention to be in service from your heart to others. That's it. And you come on here every day, and if you miss my video, you put it in the comments what you did on that day to be in service to others. Why do you want to be public? You want to be public for one, to create the commitment within yourself. What does that do? That helps you expand potentials. It gets you out of your own mind and into conscious action. It gives others your sharing of what you have offered to your local community and humanity. Your sharing helps us all expand. Okay? And if we do that every day for 30 days, what you're going to see is at the end of 30 days, you will have grown in greater confidence, clarity, humility, and we are helping align to unity consciousness, which is all about all of us in this together. We're all in this thing together, this thing called life together. Mick, you're reflecting things for me. I'm reflecting things for you. And it's our opportunity to share, just share from our heart what we're doing to make a difference. You know, when I was in, what grade was that? I think I was in high school. I think I might have been like 14. And I had a teacher that gave us this thing called a blue ribbon, and you can find blue ribbon online, but it's who you are makes a difference. And every day our teacher would say, who you are makes a difference, and she'd pick a different student, and she would make a list of all the things that made that student different and how they made a difference in the class. And this is that magnified, you know, because obviously we're not in a class here, we're on YouTube, and you know, the algorithms do what the algorithms do, and people who get this kind of thing resonate with it or they don't. It just changes. So, you know, everybody's looking up what's happening with Charlie Kirk, what's happening with the government, what's happening in the wars, what's happening in Israel, what's happening in Gaza. All of those things are happening, so we're told, from our screens. Now it's our opportunity to create our own reality by being in service to humanity. We're in sync. Mick is saying, I like it. We're in sync. We started a man shed every Monday. Oh, I like that. Where we get together. I love that. Can you say a man shed? What is that? That's a perfect example of being in service. Man shed. Invite your man shed folks to come join us. Every day they can post what they're doing as well, and then we can grow. This is literally how we change humanity. Not by changing other people, but by changing ourselves, becoming so strong with inner strength and clarity and confidence. I love it. Thanks for sharing, Mick. I love it. I said earlier before you jumped on that I even bought colored chalk, and I started writing on the sidewalk just notes for people who are walking on the sidewalk that would make them think and set an intention and maybe pause. And what I noticed, I don't sit outside and watch everybody who's walking by, but I noticed some people would just walk by and not notice it at all, because a lot of people are asleep, and some people would stop and like, oh, what is this saying? Intention begins within. Okay. And maybe they made an intention, but for at least that moment, they got a message that was to align with their inner spirit. That was my point. So every week I'm doing a different message for the sidewalk. But now, after being on this video, I think what I'm going to do is take my chalk on my next walk, and I'm going to leave little notes around the park near my house. And that's going to be one of my things that I'm going to do to be in service. Like, it doesn't have to be a lot of things. You don't have to take a lot of effort. It's about being just being connected to your heart and doing things to help others. I believe in serving. Say, how much should or how often should we do it? The only kind and real service I have done is charity. Interesting. But I never, ever feel like I've done enough. Okay, first I want to say, I don't want to mispronounce your name. Okay. Neb. And I have screwed up people's names every time on here. So I want to be respectful and just say thank you so much for sharing. First of all, who you are makes a difference. So charities or organizations can be very difficult for people to express from their heart. So what I would say is anything that you do that is from your heart in kindness, to smiling at people when they walk by. Look at how many people don't even smile. Like, I saw this lady this morning, and I waved to her and I smiled, and she was like, do not look at me. Do not look at me. And like, you could see in her face, she was just so used to not wanting to be vulnerable. But that didn't stop me from smiling and waving and getting a giggle out of it. And I wasn't laughing at her, but I was laughing at how we've become so isolated. This is a woman that lives by herself. Her lights are always off, and she lives a very enclosed life, it appears. I don't know her because we don't communicate. Or do we? Like, we're always communicating, right? Whether we realize it or not. So what I would say is that you can do something simple that's in service. It could be smiling. It could be leaving notes. I used to go for walks on this one path, and there used to be these little square notes that had positive affirmations that people would leave around, and you just grab one and you got like a little note. And you could do that, or you could go to the grocery store and you can help somebody with their bags. I know I go early in the morning, and there's always senior citizens there, and I can offer to help or whatever. It's about listening when you're being called. It's not about, oh, I think I'm going to go volunteer today. It's about every day being in service from your heart. I believe that I have a servant's heart. I used to think it was weak, but it's a complete opposite. You know, you're so spot on with that, Mick. You know, those of us who know that helping others is part of our path. It has been seen as on the outside world by many as a fruitless effort, you know, because so many people are cold-hearted, otherwise known as a black heart, or closed heart, you know, and they don't know the gifts that come from being in service when you're selfless. You know, when you're in alignment to your purpose, you don't do things that make sense to other people. And it's not about looking at what other people are doing. It's really about knowing from within yourself that you're in alignment. And how do you get to be more in alignment with your spirit, your inner spirit, and creating inner strength? It's about listening to yourself. It's about listening to your heart, and it's about having conscious actions in relationship to that. Totally agree. Now, as an empath, or the wounded warrior, the wounded healers out there. Now, a lot of them are doing service from the place of the needing to fill up their cup, if you will. And, you know, being in service from an empty space is not what we're doing here. This is about being in pure connection to your heart as you're being in service. And that is the distinction that I would offer, would make a big difference for a lot of empaths, because a lot of empaths are looking for approval or support or encouragement from a world that does not honor that. So it's about also using discernment, which is a spiritual lesson, right? Discernment. So I'm excited that you're on board with me on this, Mick. You've said it so beautifully. I mean, you mean always carrying a potential of kindness and perceptiveness to who needs us. Yes, yes, yes. You said it beautiful. So that when we are needed, we step up and serve. First of all, it's about... So first, I think you said it 100% correct. There's no incorrect here. It's all about your perception, right? What I am suggesting is that you don't have to do something for another person through a charity, through an organized effort. It could be seeing something that needs to be addressed and you addressed it. It could be, like I said, I'm writing something on the sidewalk, leaving a nice note. Do these people in my neighborhood think that they need to be more intentional? Probably not. But that doesn't mean that I don't think that being intentional would be very helpful for them, right? Being intentional is how we create change in our world. So if you're consciously being intentional to be in service, like wake up each day for the next 30 days and say, okay, how am I going to be in service today? That could be the question that you ask. How am I going to be in service today? And then you pay attention when you are needed or called, because when you're a servant to one, I'll just say, or God, or your inner spirit, and you're listening, you will know when things need to be done. And sometimes it might be in an emergency situation. Sometimes it might not even be that. Maybe it's just offering to listen to somebody who is struggling, or just being present for a conversation, being a witness to a situation. You know, a couple lives ago, I talked about how I witnessed somebody who was suicidal, and how I believe that in that witnessing, there was a shift. that occurred and something miraculous happened. That happens when we bring presence. So let's be honest here. This isn't a doing thing. It is a conscious action, but sometimes that action is just presence. So yeah, let's see how that works for you. Hopefully that is helpful. Yes, thank you, Mick. Yeah, it was very powerful. Very powerful. And also, I also want to say this about confidence. That confidence people have built and think that they're confident through their ego mind, and yet they have a lot of doubt. That tells you that they're not confident at all and that they're lacking inner strength. When you have inner strength, when you have real confidence, that's real power. That comes from your ability to see, sense, and feel. Sometimes the eyes will fool you, right? Look at everything that's happening with this Charlie Kirk, and I don't want to get political, but people are being asked to challenge what they're seeing, and I'm asking you to listen to your heart. And when you listen to your heart, you don't have to worry about what your eyes are perceiving. You will have an inner knowing. And when you learn to trust that inner knowing, you will become more confident. Confidence isn't coming from your title. It isn't coming from your job. It isn't coming from the actions that you do every day. Because you're proficient at working out does not mean you're confident. Because you're a proficient runner or a proficient therapist, that doesn't make you confident. That makes you competent. Being competent and confident are very different. That's a good one. Maybe that's tomorrow when we'll talk about that one. Confident and competent. We'll talk about the differences. And we'll share. So if you're watching this on the replay, please put in the comments what one thing you did today to be in service to humanity, your environment, your relationships, etc. And let us know in the comments. And thank you for being here. I'm just going to read this last comment here. It surely was helpful. You're actually unknowingly giving me an answer to something that has been bothering me for some time. Thank you so much for being here and for saying that. My sole mission is to just help one person every single day. And thank you so much. I came on here with that intention, and I hope that you're going to be with me on the next 30 days. I would love for us all to be more confident and we need more confident and competent people in this world with a strong inner sense of knowingness. So I thank you so much for being here. Mick, good to see you. Hey, Shane, good to see you. I'm just signing off. I'm going to be here for 30 days, Shane. I hope you join. And please listen, because this is going to be what I think that you've been wanting, Shane. Sending you all lots of love. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.